Hello and welcome to the Fish Nerds. We sure hope you're enjoying these effing throwbacks. This is episode number 11. We thought we were going to hit the big time by now, but we haven't. But anyway, I hope we're enjoying them. If you love these or you're enjoying them even a little bit, head over to your favorite podcatcher, whether it's iTunes or Stitcher or whatever. Leave us a 5-star review. Remember, 5 stars is the only correct answer. If you have a 1-star review, please stop listening to the show. We don't want you. But if you're like us, give us 5 stars. Leave a little comment and let us know what you think. Also, be sure you're subscribed because every Thursday I'm going to keep these old episodes coming, and every Monday you'll get a brand new show. So thank you so much, and really, we wouldn't be the Fish Nerds without your support. So please keep sharing our show with your friends.
Welcome to the Fish Nerds Podcast, the latest about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I'm Dave.
And I'm Clay. Together we talk about fishy stuff that's happened to us, people we know, and other fish nerds we've seen. Anything is fair game, and it's good bet one of us is making stuff up as we go.
We got buckets of things to talk about today. It's summertime, and it's been hot as hot. It's very hot. But we actually just got a cool spell coming through, so I'm actually podcasting from outside tonight.
Go Dave!
Yeah, I know. So who knows what's... I've been hearing some scuffling off to my left. I think there may be a skunk moving.
I hope it's a bear.
We'll see. So the things we're going to talk about today are fallfish death, summer swamp fishing, or lack thereof.
Well, plenty of fishing.
Yeah, it's true. Plenty of fishing. Fishing on a pontoon boat.
Sounds fun.
The trout magnet. It's one of our favorite lures, and we figured we'd feature it, even though they're not giving us any money.
Bastards.
Fish in the news. We'll be talking about fish in the news, as well as this week in Fish Nerd Nation. So, fallfish. Clay, what's up with fallfish?
Okay, so I'm working at a summer camp where I'm teaching fishing. Sounds great. Every day, take kids out fishing, and we start with worms and talk about other methods, and we move up to using minnows for bait. And there's a little brook that runs through the camp that's packed with fallfish. Like so many fallfish, you put a minnow trap out, and an hour later you've got 20 of them.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is, except for one problem. They die.
No.
All of them. They just keep dying. I've tried leaving them in the minnow trap in the river. They die.
Yeah.
I've tried putting them in a big wire cage in the lake. They die. I've tried a bigger bucket with holes drilled in it, sunk in the lake. They die. They just keep dying.
Well, they are Granite State fish. They are live free or die, after all.
Yes, if I can't be free, I'm going to be dead. Well,
That's right.
And then I started thinking about it. I've never seen fallfish in a bait shop.
That's true.
I always see golden shiners, which are easy to keep alive, and white suckers and common shiners. Never a fallfish.
Never a fallfish. I think you may know why.
I may know why, because they're useless. And then you feel bad. You have buckets of dead fish. You have these kids around. You talk about fishing ethics and all that other stuff, and then kill a whole bunch of fish.
Well, that's another thing that always kills me is that, people are always so careful with that fish that they catch. And, especially the European guys, they're all like, oh, let's put this carp in a very, careful handling.
Gonna wrap it in a blanket.
Wrap it in a blanket and give it a kiss and fix the wounds and the whole 9 yards. But the bait, it's like, oh, screw that. And you just hook the bait on.
We'll be really careful with the fish, but we're gonna shove a piece of metal through its face and reel him in. But then we're going to be really gentle afterwards. I promise.
No, God,
it's really kind of an abusive relationship.
It really kind of is, but it's kind of one-sided. I don't like think about it too much.
No, because then we'd feel bad, and then
that's right.
What we talk about.
I know we don't come out good in that.
And then we'd be just welcome to Nerd Nation. We talk about nothing.
Although I'm expecting PETA one of these days to give us a call.
I hope they do.
I hope they do. And, they have that campaign with naked women. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I Googled it on accident.
Oh, sure. And, I'd be, we're both happily married, but I'd be open to a debate with naked women about killing fish.
Bring it on. And I'll agree with every point they make. You're absolutely right. Yep. And then afterwards they go, you don't even listen to me, are you? I go, nope. Not a word. But you can make whatever point you make.
Yeah, it's such, they just, anyway.
That didn't take long for us to get off topic.
It didn't. Boy, that moved right off of dead fallfish.
Hey, but if anyone listening at Fish Nerd Nation here has a way of keeping fallfish alive, please tell me. Because I can get tons of them for bait. I just can't make it to the lake to fish with them. So.
They must just lose their will to live, or
just quit.
I don't know.
They just quit.
Maybe they're like sharks. They got to keep swimming.
I thought that. So I figured a bigger container, right?
All right.
So these little tiny fallfish in a giant, 5-gallon, tub. I thought it was plenty of space.
Yeah, must not be. No, you need a lake.
You need a lake. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe just keep them in a lake.
Just don't bother using them. Go back to sluggos.
Yeah, but you can grind them up and make falafel fallfish.
Yeah. Okay, so Dave, let's move forward here. Forward. Tell us about your summer swamp fishing adventure.
All right, so I've been going after creek chubsuckers, and they say they're in the swamp, so I even got my kayak.
They lie.
They lie. I poked around the swamps, which is really... there's a reason why people don't hang around swamps. It's because they're not meant for people.
Because they're swampy.
They're just god awful. They're the most buggiest places. It's interesting, and I like kind of floating above it all for a little while. But under the summer heat, my God, it's like swimming in an armpit.
Were you wearing were you wearing waders?
Well, no, actually, I was in a kayak.
Oh, okay.
So floating above it's fine until you get the kayak stuck and you got to jam a paddle on the bottom and all that methane comes up.
Bubbly.
Bubbly. So like I said, it just gets really nasty. But I was hoping I would be able to find the, like the elephant's graveyard, find the creek chubsucker, nirvana. Never found it. And it was strange too, because I was in some pretty nasty water thinking that the only things that could survive were maybe golden shiners and such. And then I caught a bass, largemouth bass. Very strange.
What'd you catch him on?
Caught him on a worm. I was trying to catch a creek chubsucker. So wow. I don't know, but so now I've resorted to the drop the worm and wait scenario, which is just murder.
Oh, it's boring. It's funny because I'm taking kids fishing and they're always, I fish in like for 1 minute each spot. I move the boat and the kids are like, Clay, why are we moving? I said, because no fish here. But we haven't even tried more than a minute. I said, patience does not catch you fish. But my dad said, your dad likes sitting under a tree drinking a beer. That's not catching fish. Let's go get a fish. So.
Your dad's lazy and a liar.
I didn't really say that, by the way. Nice. I thought it. But I said, nope, that's not how you get a fish. Or if they're hungry, they're going to eat. If not, go find the hungry guys.
Yes.
So.
So that's good advice. But I figured creek chubsuckers, especially this time of year, are probably just sitting there. Nothing. So I even went out tonight off a bridge off the Taylor River, little swampy area. Nothing. I mean, nothing was moving. All I saw were some golden shiners kind of sucking air at the top.
Well, like if you look at like Lake Ospey, for example, when it's a big lake in New Hampshire, the water is 84 degrees.
Oh my God.
And right around 80 degrees, the dissolved oxygen level in the lakes drops dramatically. So fish really are working hard to breathe. It's like they're at the top of like Mount Everest. They're just gasping for air. So eating is not high on the list of priorities.
Right. Yeah. Right. They are just like all of us, when it gets hot, you just don't want to do anything.
But a couple of cool nights, water temperature drops pretty quick. We should be okay again.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I was actually out at Newcastle, out in the ocean, near Portsmouth, and I saw some guys fishing off a bridge, and I only had about 5 minutes, so I just went out and observed. It was I didn't even take a fishing pole, but I saw somebody catch a striper, and it was neat because he caught the striper, and it was clearly an undersized striper, and he gets it and he immediately looks up and looks at all the people on the bridge looking at him, and he's like, okay. And he releases it. I think that would have been a dead fish if nobody was looking at it.
You wonder how many of that would happen. So
I think a lot. But then there was a guy there. I think he was either Vietnamese or Laotian. But he was catching the heck out of. I didn't get a good look, but I think herring, because he was fishing with little sabaki rigs and mackerel. So.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Oh, you should remind me. I didn't even talk to you about my mackerel fishing trip.
Yeah, how did that go? You had all those kids. Did anybody bite a head off a mackerel?
This year they did not. Last year I went, and the Scottish guy did it. This year I was fishing the camp I work at. Their kids are international, so I have Dominican kids and Puerto Rican kids and Mexican kids and Scottish. It's weird, and French. And it's a weird mix of accents. Yeah. But this time it was almost all Puerto Rican kids and myself, and one French kid. And I couldn't talk any of them into biting the head off a mackerel.
Gee, go
One of the deckhands did it. So I thought,
oh, really?
Yeah, so I thought, all right, let's do it. And then I didn't want to do it. So
wait, what is the goal? What's the purpose of biting the head off a mackerel?
To make someone else do it.
No.
There's no purpose.
There's no purpose. It's not like a good luck thing.
No, well, that's what you tell the kids. But the real goal is just to make them do it.
I get it. Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone does it the first time they're out, and then you make them do it. It's like peeing in the deck of a lobster boat. You just don't. No one really does it, but just say it out loud, so they'll try.
See if you can get the new guy to do it.
Watch what he does. So, but here's the strange thing: is we were out fishing, and we're topwater fishing for mackerel. I'm using a sabiki rig, and I'm
topwater fishing.
Yeah, fishing like the fish are right on the surface.
Oh,
you can throw a slug over if you want, you'll catch them. Wow, but I'm using a sabiki, so I'm throwing it down, let it drop 4 feet and pulling up 4 fish at a time, which is really fun.
No, that is fun.
Really, really fun.
How big were they?
They're probably pushing 15 inches. They're not huge.
Yeah, but still, that's a nice.
When you get four, it's great. And a little tiny sabiki rig, which is if you've ever seen one, it's a rig that has 6 hooks on it, and they dangle constantly, and they're super sharp, and they're dangling off with a 3-ounce sinker underneath them. So they just swing around and hook your hand. There's nothing you can do about it. But when you catch 4 fish at a time, you'll deal with the pain. So, but when that broke off, I had the little mackerel jig, which is a shiny jig with one single hook on it, and the mackerel shut down. So I kept dropping it down to the bottom. I have no idea how deep we were, but I kept pulling up fish with no bait, just a shiny hook. And I had pulled up a few small pollock, which I couldn't keep, but I'm pretty sure they all died.
Oh. Wait, why can you keep them undersized? Oh. Okay.
So here's the kind of the problem. You catch a fish that's undersized. The fish has no chance of living because you pulled it from such depth his air bladder came out of its butt. They have the bends. They're going to die. Mm-hmm. That you can't keep. It doesn't feel ethical.
It doesn't, but the alternative is to not fish.
Right.
And that's not a very appealing option.
I know, but I hate the idea of killing a fish I'm not going to eat. Unless it's a fall fish, and I guess I can get over it. But
I guess so.
But it just made me crazy. It's a great tasting fish. I just wrecked it by catching it.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
true.
It's seagull food.
Or whatever's down there.
They don't even get down. Their air bladders inflated coming out of their bottoms, and they're just buoyant.
God, that's
and
rough.
you watch the gulls come and eat them. There's nothing you can do about it.
I really hope reincarnation is a lie.
Oh, we're so screwed.
We're coming back as Pollock.
Yeah. So.
I read a statement in a book that I'm reading. The guy says, "If it dies, it fries," which I thought was pretty good.
That's a really good one. So.
Yeah. Anyway, so boy, we're just rambling all.
I know we're off topic. 13 minutes in, and we've still said nothing. So.
And let's continue that with pontoon boat.
So as I've said, every day I get on a pontoon boat with a bunch of kids and go fishing on Lake Ossipee. Ossipee Lake is a glacial lake formed by glaciers in the middle of a bunch of old volcanoes. called the Osprey ring dike. And it's called that.
the Ossipee ring dike.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. So, but it's basically what happened when those glaciers came in is they just ground the earth up into a giant bowl of sand.
Yeah.
So there's no habitat. Lake Ossipee is just sand everywhere. It's really difficult to find weeds or habitat.
Wow.
So I'm out with a pontoon boat and I see a weed bed. And so I motor on over there, and I know in a canoe or a kayak or a small fishing boat exactly how to edge up to the weeds and cast out. On a pontoon boat, you edge up, you turn it off, and you glide over the weeds, and you crunch over the weeds, and you keep going and smashing the habitat, and then you end up on the beach. So it's really hard to edge up into the fish.
Now this is am I right? You failed the boating exam the first time around.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
Are you sure it's the pontoon boat's fault?
No. Here's another example. Like there's a channel, that goes into Levitt Bay of Lake Ossipee, and up that channel are a bunch of houses with docks in their backyard, and the docks have big giant pontoon boats parked. Huh? So I'm thinking, let's motor up that channel, chase some fish. Bottoming out. Everywhere I go, I just smash into the sand.
Wow.
And I can't figure out for the life of me how those pontoon boats got in there.
Well, maybe you have a whole bunch of kids on the boat.
Maybe they got a running start.
Oh.
Yeah. But
try that.
The other counselor, the other guy who was with me on the boat, told me that was a bad idea. So I was just backing up to make a run for it, and he said, maybe we should go fish on that rock pile over there and catch something else.
Nice.
But we've been catching in about 14 feet of water with the heat. You have to go a little deeper. We've been catching tons of white perch. And I'm super happy to have found easy picking white perch. Because they're just, I don't know if you ever caught one. You've caught one?
Yeah, I've caught
one. They're a temperate bass. They have no business in a lake. And so when you catch this fish, and I'm telling the kids, so this fish belongs either in the ocean or migrating to freshwater to spawn. That's it. And so finding it in a lake like this where they're, reproducing and living and staying here, it's just so out of place and so awesome. I just really go on about it. And then the kids, what is it? It's a white perch. Oh, cool. By the way, it's not a perch. But you just said it was a white perch. Yeah, I know. I said it's a white perch, but it's not a perch. And then I have to explain what temperate bass is and how its closest cousin's a striped bass. And then the kids say, we're from Puerto Rico. We don't really know what you're talking about. And so I go, well, big fish.
Big fish.
Yeah. Did
you tell them about the ring of dikes?
I did not.
You ought to try that one next time.
No. So, anyway, that's fishing on a pontoon boat. But it's an interesting challenge because you have all these kids out there. They're all jockeying for space, and they're always tangling, and it's hard.
I bet. Wait, no. So how many kids get on a boat?
I get about 8 kids. And then I have a lifeguard with me, and usually one other adult.
Wow.
Yeah, and then once in a while, my own kids will show up when they're not supposed to.
Just show up.
I let them on the boat also.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's fun, and the kids have a blast. We're catching tons of fish, and we're screaming and yelling, and it's good fun. But it's a challenge just getting to the fish.
All right.
So that's pontoon boat fishing.
Yeah, so good job. That's like the dream job.
And they give me money.
Yeah, I know. They give you money, and you're starting to figure out that lake, which is awesome.
Really cool.
So, now have you tried any trout magnets out?
I have, actually. I just, in fact, bought some more today just to stock up.
Yeah, trout magnets are these cool jigs. I don't know why they work so well. But they're these very kind of thin jigs that have a kind of a reverse angle head on them. So like they're kind of slanted back. But the great thing about them is they're lead free. And here in New Hampshire, you have to be lead free, especially with small jigs. I guess you can throw bigger jigs, but small jigs because the loons eat them.
Right.
And apparently loons eat them to the point where they get lead poisoning.
And that weakens their eggs, which means their babies are useless and... Oh, wait, useless. Don't exist. Which
that's pretty useless.
Pretty useless. Yeah, well, it happens... Here's what happens with loons. They're not eating the fish with lead heads in them. The fish will eat the lead jig. They might break your line off. Eventually, the head of the jig will drop to the bottom of the lake into a pile of rocks. Then the loons go down there and they eat those rocks to aid in their digestion. And by doing that, they're ingesting the lead. And then that messes up everything. Messes up everything. So it's nice to have the option of these steel jigs that Trout Magnet's putting out. They're great. And they look cool. And they catch tons of fish.
Yeah, tons of fish. I had one on the other day, a little white one. And the bluegill, like really big bluegill, could just not stop hitting.
No, it's great, too, because you're not screwing with worms. It's not gross. It's great.
Yeah. So, so anyway, we highly endorse the Trout Magnet.
We totally do, and if they want to advertise with us, feel free. But hey, listen, here's the kind of thing about fishing with lead is right now New Hampshire's trying to pass a law to increase the size of the lead you're not allowed to fish with. So right now, I think it's like a quarter ounce, something like that. Anything smaller than a certain size, you can't use. And the Loon Preservation Society wants to expand that to larger pieces of lead. And anglers are all up in arms about this. Oh, you can't do this to us because if you do that, that's like imposing a new tax on us. We have to go out and buy new fishing gear, blah, blah, blah. And therefore, you shouldn't allow us to do that. You shouldn't make us buy new stuff. And what do you say to that, Dave? How do you address that?
How do you address that? I mean, I have at least one tackle box completely full of lead jigs from the past.
Mm-hmm. So you're just going to dump them in the lake and buy new stuff?
Yeah, I think dumping them in the lake is the way to go. And one of the big challenges is getting it all culled out of my other gear, because if you have one on you, I think you can potentially get arrested, right? If you're fishing and I don't know, can you have one with you?
Yeah, you're allowed to own them and they still sell them. Like I was in Dick's Sporting Goods today. Almost everything contains lead.
Yeah, that's true.
It was really difficult. I was looking for tin jigs. I want a whole bunch of jigs that don't have lead in them. And right. I found some small tin ones that Eagle Claw puts out. But I was looking for a lot more variety, and they have everything, almost everything has lead. All these tiny panfish jigs have a lead warning right on the package. So it's perfectly legal to sell them. And you don't have to tell people, by the way, you can buy that from us, but you're not really allowed to use it.
Well, see, I don't think that's true because I read where it's actually there's a state law where you can't sell them either.
Well, okay,
but I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, but I was just there and I saw these lead. I think they get around it because there's saltwater gear is there too.
Well, but here's my answer, by the way, to anglers who complain about having to buy more gear.
Oh yeah,
anglers love buying new gear.
They do.
So now you get to go, oh, hey, sorry, I couldn't pay the electric bill this month. I had to buy new fishing gear. Finally, you've got an excuse, and it's the law that said you have to do it. So
that is true, and it's a stimulus package.
It's fantastic.
I mean, just think of all these folks, and it really is shameful that we're fishing with this toxic material.
Yeah. So we got to make an effort. At least the fish nerds can make an effort to try and be a little more eco-friendly when we're fishing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff. We don't fish with sulfuric acid.
You don't.
We fish with. There's no law.
Talk about speak for yourself, nerd.
So it does make sense to just stop. Although when I was a kid, I used to bite the lead sinkers onto the line.
Oh, me too.
Crazy.
Have you done that with a tin one?
No.
It hurts.
So anyway, I suppose it makes sense.
It does.
And you're right. You do get to go buy more and the economy's moving, and I think it's probably because of lead jigs.
Yeah, just because of lead jigs. But it's just crazy. I've never heard an angler cry about buying gear until there's a law. So Suddenly they're sad about it. Boo freaking boo. Oh no, I gotta go buy a new jig. I can't take it. Where will I find my dollar? So.
Hey, did you hear the U.S. military is firing warning shots at sharks?
Oh, this is the fish in the news, isn't it?
This is Fish in the News. So, Fish in the News. Yep, very good. So this was just breaking news. It happened today.
Wow,
at least
we are so current.
Today. We are very current. So in Australia, 2 U.S. fighter jets dropped 4 unarmed bombs into Australia's Great Barrier Reef Marine Park.
As a warning.
As a warning.
These are the Australians did this?
No, it was 2 U.S. fighters dropped it on Australia.
Oh, okay, good.
And,
you just, by the way, you just saved yourself from hearing a terrible Australian accent. So
I'm being very careful to avoid any more references to
good.
that. So, but it angered environmentalists.
Well, you would think it would anger the sharks. So
you would think
the
so.
environmentalists should thank them for not arming the bombs.
I know, that's the key, is that they didn't explode, you know. So there are these big hunks of metal now that are on the bottom of the ocean. Mm-hmm. But they say, oh, don't worry, they're not going to hurt anybody. They weigh a total of 2,000 pounds.
Oh, that's nothing.
So, yeah, that's 4 bombs. That's 500 pounds each.
Right.
So.
You know, I say any bomb under 600 pounds is okay with me. So
and if you look in the regulations, the fishing regulations in New Hampshire, they say nothing about bombs.
They don't. So as long as they're not lead bombs, you're fine.
That's right. That's right. There's no size restriction on bombs or anything.
So do they have like a note on them? Dear shark, let this be a warning to you and your kin. If
we have drones,
if we catch you eating any more of our people, these will not come unarmed. And then they translate it to shark. Glub, yes. Glub, 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 glub. Exclamation point. So
I know, you know, we're just flexing our muscles.
Yeah, well, you know, we're not involved in nearly enough wars as it is. So now it's the war on the sharks.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I mean, they started it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they have all those teeth.
I know. I mean, this is really just preemptive strike.
Right. Good idea. But as long as there's bipartisan support for it, and the UN's involved, it's going to be okay.
We're going to be okay.
And like always, we don't really care about the environmentalist take on it. So. Yeah, we as fish nerds care, but we as Americans don't.
Yeah.
Unless it costs us money.
Right. And then we're very, very worried.
Then we're passionate, you know. So, make me spend.
So anyway, that was Fish in the News.
That's good news. Well, I don't know if it's good news.
No, it's just news.
Something. It's something. This is going to be the shortest podcast ever.
It's okay. It's okay. It's summer. We're hot.
Well, we should talk about that.
Okay.
Faithful listeners. Mike, you might have noticed that we have not been recording a podcast every single week.
That's true.
And for that, Dave's sorry. I've been busy.
Clay's been very busy taking kids out and not killing themselves.
I'm fishing.
So.
What am I going to do?
Yeah, you're fishing.
But we will get back to regular schedule soon enough. Don't you worry. In the meantime, we're going to record as many as we can whenever we have time and keep them coming out. But please recall, we don't make money on this. This is us having fun with a microphone. So
yep.
We're doing it because we enjoy it. We think maybe some people like to hear us do it. So if you want to keep it going, please go to iTunes, subscribe to the Fish Nerds podcast, give us a 5-star rating. That's the best payment we could receive. And then make a little comment. And in that comment, really you do well to talk about how great we are, and you might want to talk about how Clay is funnier than Dave, something to that effect. But don't make a comment on there. Let us know that you're listening. It encourages us to do more. If there's something you want to hear, go to our Facebook page, ask us some questions, and we'll be happy to address all that stuff on our weekly, bi-weekly, whatever we call this, podcast.
That's right. And if you're from PETA, be sure to go on our YouTube channel.
Share some video.
And share a video response
yes.
to what we're doing.
Yes.
So.
And we're not against PETA by any stretch.
No.
I love that.
I think it's a
little sandwich with
the sandwich?
Yeah, the pocket sandwich. It's delicious.
So yeah, we're open to debate.
Yes.
So. Yes. And you know, one of the reasons why we haven't been podcasting is because we're being radio famous on WMWV 93.5.
The Fish Nerds Minute.
Yes. So 1 minute at a time, we're taking over the airwaves, and a sponsorship by Andy's Bait and Tackle
in Bartlett, New Hampshire.
In Bartlett, New Hampshire. And, we talk about a fish, we talk about all cool stuff, and it only takes a minute. So you'd think it would only take a minute to record, but it's not true.
No, it takes about 29 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it takes about 30 takes to get 1 good minute of recording.
But we get it all done. So that's one of the reasons why we haven't done a podcast, too. So we've been cranking out those for WMWV.
Yep, and hopefully you'll hear them at other places as well. We're going to try to market those a little bit. Maybe the fish nerds can get paid.
Now that would be a good campaign.
I love it.
I would be behind that.
Fish nerds make a buck. That would be fish in the news.
Yeah, that is fish. That would be
huge news.
But if you haven't checked out Fish Nerd Nation recently at fishnerds.com, we had some pretty good ones. Jerry and Max were again featured this week.
I love Jerry and Max.
Jerry and Max, we've got to go find Jerry and fish with Jerry.
At least send him an email.
Really entertaining.
Why don't you tell people who Jerry is?
So Jerry goes out and fishes on the Erie Canal. And mostly, he'll travel all over around the Buffalo, New York area, I think is where he's at. And he likes fishing with corn. He's very popular with corn. And he fishes with other people, but he always takes his dog Max. So it's Jerry and Max going out pretty much every day, it looks like. And the neat thing about one of the neat things about Jerry is he has a big black cowboy hat that he wears.
Well, he's got to keep the sun off his face.
He does. And but then, so he'll bring in fish, and then he'll take out a little bitty black cowboy hat and put it on the fish.
And take the picture, and he makes the fish talk.
He does. He gives them a little soundtrack, and or a little voiceover, and he pretends he's the fish.
Hi, I'm a little catfish, and I like to go swimming in the lake now. And then he goes, well, okay, catfish, you can go, and he throws him back. That's his awesome adventure. So.
It's really great, and the fact that he's out there with a video camera doing this is really great. And he just entered a tournament, so I wonder how he did.
It would be really funny if he is doing a bass fishing tournament, and all the bass are being weighed in, and they've got a little hat strapped on their neck, and they're going, "That's a violation of the rules, Jerry." And then he gets the fish voice, "But I'm a bucket mouth, and I like to wear hats." Jerry, fish don't talk. Glub, 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 glub.
So anyway, we really, really enjoy Jerry. He's a die-in-the-wool fish nerd. So
we should contact him and get him on the show.
We got to. And like I said, I really would like to go out and fish with him someday. It'd be really great.
It'd be so cool. One of our sponsors might send us.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
We could be sponsored by little hats.
Stetson Mini.
For all your mini hat needs, Stetson Mini. What would that be? Instead of a 5-gallon hat, that's a 10-gallon.
Half-pint hat.
Half-pint, you're right.
We got a 16-ounce hat.
So anyway, there's other videos on there. Some guy caught this really big bass on a plastic mouse. It's a cool video of seeing a long-range take on a topwater bait. It was probably an 8-pound bass. And this little plastic mouse, very cool.
We don't get to see 8-pound bass up here very often. So for us, that's exciting. If you're in Florida or something, you get them all the time. But, Hampshire, 10 pounds is a record, but you rarely see one over 6 pounds. And 6 would be a monster.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we get a kick out of those. And the other really neat thing, and this could have been a Fish Nerd Nation thing, is there's some recent research that caught some video of thresher sharks feeding on, I think it was anchovies or herring or something.
Yeah, it's giant schools of fish, and they whip their tail to stun the fish.
It's so cool, and they whip it over the top of their heads. So it's like they snap like a whip over the top of their heads, and then they can pick up the fish that have been stunned. But they've often guessed that that's what they use these long tails for, but they actually got video footage of them doing it. It's really cool.
Isn't it great when you're a scientist and you make a guess and you're right? It's such a rare thing.
I don't know what else they would use that big long tail for.
Well, there's so many animals have vestigial structures, and they actually have these traits that do nothing. They don't improve the chance of survival. They don't make it less likely to survive. They're just things you got. And so it's very possible that some animals have long tails just because they do. Just random variation and just stuck.
Never got rid of them. Hey, I read something the other day that's mild. Did you know snakes have 2 penises?
No, but I'm glad you brought that up. Because I was wondering. That's really interesting, Dave.
Thank you. I was really surprised by that.
I am stunned. I don't even... speaking of snakes, the other night I was in a talent show.
Really?
Yeah, I juggled torches, terribly, because I made my own torches and I taped the handles with black tape. And I was juggling in the dark, and I couldn't see the handles. I couldn't catch them. So I'm throwing balls of fire in the air, trying to catch the handles I couldn't see. It was really embarrassing.
Beautiful.
If I practiced during the day, I could see them just fine. So I was able to juggle torches all day long, no problem. When the actual show came up, I'm just throwing fire in the sky. But that's not the snake thing. The snake thing is, I had the whole show put together. I had a friend with me. He was doing some work. So we did juggling and magic. And the magic trick I did was, the cut and restore trick with ropes?
Yes. Yes.
So I had a northern water snake. Which, I don't know if you've ever held one of these things. They're the meanest snake in the whole state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, they just bite.
When you pick them up, you guarantee they're going to bite you. They're awesome. And I'm not afraid to get bit by a snake. Doesn't faze me one bit. So Penn and Teller, my favorite magicians, did a trick I saw on Saturday Night Live or something, where they did this trick, and they did a cut and restore trick with a live snake. And when they cut the snake, blood squirted out and everything. I thought, I'm going to do that trick, because I know how to do the trick with the rope. So I got a little piece of, I'm going to give away the magic here. I didn't really cut a snake in half.
Oh, really?
It's a trick. It's magic. It's a lie. Magic isn't real. It's like, let's pretend. So, but I got this little rubber hose, and I filled it full of ketchup, and I taped the end shut. And so I'm standing in front of 300 kids with a snake, and I'm talking about, I do fishing, and I do all the outdoor education also. I do program where I teach about natural history in New Hampshire. So I'm the expert on things. So people believe everything I say. So I talk about this snake being the meanest snake in New Hampshire. I'm holding it. It's thrashing around, threatening to bite me. It's great. And I hold it in my hands just right, and I'm able to slip out that hose so it looks like the arch of the back of the snake is coming through my hands and back in again. And I have someone cut it, and it bleeds out this little ooze of fake blood, and it's really creepy. And then I put the snake in my mouth, the whole thing. The entire snake.
You put the snake in your mouth?
Yes, which, by the way, in rehearsal, the snake went in easily.
Wait. You put a snake in your mouth?
A northern water snake, yeah. He was only about 2 feet long. So, but he went, when I rehearsed this bit, I was able to get the entire snake in my mouth without getting bit or hurt. And then he came right out the front of my mouth. But in the actual show, he would not go in. He kept fighting me to get out. And I didn't have the heart to force him. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Clay.
I'm an artist, Dave Kellum. I'm an artist.
You are. Wow. You have my respect.
Yeah.
That's going for it.
And I didn't even get salmonella or anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the kids were totally freaked out.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's awesome. But I didn't win the talent show. Because I work there. And it was about the kids and not me. And I'm thinking,
oh, those jerks.
All right, I'm just kicking these 5-year-olds' asses.
I'm awesome. They're singing these cute little songs, and I'm eating snakes. And then I found out after they get to win, I don't. My daughter's team won. So she dressed as me. She did an impression of me, and I cried afterwards. It was so cute. She put on, a catch 'em all hat, and she made a goatee out of paper, and then she got the microphone and did the little spiel I always do in front of the kids. Exactly how I did it. And I actually cried. I was so touched.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Kids.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Clay.
When you work at a summer camp, that's the big stage,
Wow.
I know.
That's all I got to say. Wow.
Not
That's
fish.
amazing.
But now I'm thinking that maybe I had 2 snake penises in my mouth.
I believe you might have. I don't know. I don't know what the sex of that.
I don't
was.
either, but I'm uncomfortable now. And not that I have a problem with
No.
stuff. Just on a personal level, as far as snakes goes, I am totally heterosexual.
Right.
Yeah,
So you were fine when you thought you just had 1 snake penis.
Right. Exactly. 2 seems like a lot. We should put a warning at the beginning of this podcast. This is not kind of for kids today.
Who knew?
Why'd you bring this up?
I honestly don't know.
Oh, it's so sad.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more to talk
What
about.
else is there? So
Nothing. You dropped that.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
Hey, do we have a sponsor for this podcast?
This podcast was brought to you by the Aglet Society.
Well, I don't even know what that means.
So an aglet is the little plastic thing on the end of your shoelace. That's the name of an aglet.
The finishing touch people.
Yes. Yes, exactly right. So that's an aglet. So there you learned all sorts of things at this podcast.
Oh, no kidding. And you might have noticed that we did not do Stump the Fish Nerds this week.
That's right, because there was nobody that was up to the challenge.
Apparently, you know everything. So if any of you smarty pants have any Fish Nerds questions and you want to call them in, our phone number is 607-378-FISH. That's 607-378-3474. Feel free to pass that number on to PETA, and don't tell them what we told you about snake penises. They don't think it's as funny as we do. Because they don't get the joke.
They don't get it.
I don't know if I get it either.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I get it either. But, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that was even fish.
Yeah.
I don't know why you did that.
Because I had no idea it was going to go there.
So.
No idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. We still don't have a sign off.
Well, why don't we throw our one of our Fish Nerds minutes on here to end this one?
Oh, that's a good
stick it
idea.
right in the end. And so here's our Fish Nerd minute. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
This is the Fish Nerd Minute about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I'm Dave.
And I'm Clay, and we're brought to you today by Andy's Bait and Tackle.
Now, Clay, what do you think of when you hear the word minnow?
I think about tiny bait fish.
They're not all tiny. New Hampshire's largest native minnow, the Fallfish, its state record is 3 pounds, 8 ounces.
Wow. And during the spring, this fall fish goes through an amazing transformation. The males turn purple and pink and grow horns all over their heads.
Fallfish can be caught by almost any technique. We actually catch them while we're usually fishing for trout. But they will take flies, chase spinnerbaits, and they put up a decent fight for their size.
Right. And most people in New Hampshire have caught fall fish, but nobody knows their names. A lot of people think these fall fish are trout.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that Evan throwback as much as we did. If you want to help support the Fish Nerds, maybe throw us a little bit of money. It would help us a great deal. It does cost money to put the show together for you. Head over to patreon.com/fishnerds and donate $1 an episode. That's $4 a month. Help us keep some wind in our sails, some bait on our hooks, and keep the show going. Thank you.